Hi everyone, it's Don, and I hope you're having a fantastic week. You hear that? You might have heard that. That's the cat. But you don't hear the smoke detector anymore. Yay! Coming up next, we're going to talk about a couple that got stranded in Cuba because their cruise ship left them behind. And yeah, it's pretty much their fault, and there's not a lot they're going to be able to do about it, and they're going to be out thousands of dollars. You know the story. So last week, a couple went off to Cuba, and on one of their port destinations, they stopped in Havana. They knew the advertising for their cruise. They didn't book, I believe, directly with Norwegian Cruise Line. They booked with another, like a tour company that booked it online for them, and they saw that, they leave Havana 5 o'clock, everything's fine, so they headed off into Havana. They had a great time. They visited the sites. Havana is a beautiful city to visit as far as immersing yourself in the culture of Cuba. But, they figured, well, it's getting close. It's around 3 o'clock. We better head back. So they started heading back to the ship. And when they got back to the ship, well, the ship wasn't there. So apparently Norwegian had changed the time of leaving Havana to 2 o'clock. So they were actually over an hour and a half late getting back to the ship. And of course, the ship won't wait that long, and they had to head out and they left. And so the couple was completely panicked. As you can imagine, you're stuck in a country like Cuba, you're American, you don't necessarily have the best relations government wise for everybody. So but they managed to get back to the airport. They found out flights were going to be about 600 and some dollars a piece. They didn't really have that much money, but they managed to scrape together from different accounts into their card enough to pay for their tickets and get home. And then when they went to Norwegian and asked for an explanation, Norwegian said about a month or so before the cruise shipped, they went and had to change the itinerary. They sent out notifications to everybody on the ship's documentation. It's changed to what time they're leaving. In the overnight letter that they hand out to everybody, it says to make sure that they're back on board by 2 o'clock. Also, the ship's cruise director announced apparently many times during the day, over the loudspeaker the day before, that you know, make sure, remember that there's a change in the itinerary. We have to be back on board by 2 o'clock. And then a final notice was as you're disembarking, they put up large signs saying that make sure you're back aboard by 2 o'clock. The couple, of course, said they never saw any of this, they never heard any of this, but as we all know, it's basically in your terms of contract when you sign on the cruise. It says it is your responsibility to make sure that you're back on board. The only exception to this is if you booked an excursion directly from the cruise line, and then the cruise line will make sure that you get back on board, or they will look after your transportation to get you back on board. But now here we have the couple. They're in a foreign country, and this just goes to show that details make the trip, right? It's all in the details. It's great to be able to roll with punches, and if something happens, you're not going to go to that cruise port. You don't let it bother you. All that's fantastic. But you have to pay attention to details. If you're booking a large ship, say with Royal Caribbean, and you don't book your entertainment in advance, don't be upset that you don't get good seats because you're going to be in that standby line or you're going to get the last choices available. All these little details for every different cruise line out there is something to pay attention to. Something as simple. Here's an example. I leave next week for Cunard, the Queen Mary 2. I'm doing another transatlantic on the ship. Looking forward to it. The white glove service and the British atmosphere on the ship it's going to be really cool, I think. I'm really going to enjoy this. But I like my soda and I want to order my soda package and I looking online, I see nothing. I can't order bottled water. I can't what? So I call up and I get on hold for an hour and a half and I finally get through. I called on a bad day when I did this, but I finally got through, and no, you can't buy soda package or water until you get on the ship, and then you only have until the second night to purchase it. So I have to buy my soda package once I get on the ship and not before. So yeah, it's all about the details. Something as simple as you didn't get soda when you wanted to, you didn't get into a show you wanted to, or a worst case scenario, you get stranded in a foreign country with not enough money to pay for your way home. That's gotta be the scariest thing you can think of. I feel sorry for this couple, but the first thing I do when I'm leaving the ship is as I'm walking off the gangplank and they're scanning my card, I ask them, what time does the ship leave? And they'll tell you every single time. So I never, ever had this issue because if it did change and I said, oh, what do you mean we're leaving 3 hours earlier than I thought? That's right, we're leaving at 2 o'clock. Okay, thank you for telling me. I would make sure that I'm back by 2 o'clock. So, yeah, just one of those stories. Always pay attention to details and don't think everything you read before you get to the cruise is 100% factual because itineraries and entertainment and destinations and all kinds of things can change. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. You want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world, please hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.